Pipe organs are the perfect marriage of art and technology, of engineering and music. When I was 4 years old, I watched my mother struggle to put the belt back on the vacuum brush, and finally she gave up in disappointment and frustration. And about 30 minutes later, I came tugging on her sleeve, having taken apart the vacuum, put the belt on, and put it back together. I was also taking piano lessons by the time I was 5, and I've had these two seemingly divergent paths my whole life. I've loved building things, I've loved fixing things, I've loved playing the piano, and I've loved playing the organ. And when I was 15, my first summer job was with an organ builder in Vermont, and within a week of being there, it clicked. It was like, here these two paths have joined, and for the last 25 years, I've been on that single path. My name is Jonathan Ortloff. I'm an organ builder from Boston, and it's a great honor for my firm to have been selected to do the rebuilding of this historic organ console, which is now almost 90 years old. This organ is just as famous as the musicians who have come out of the program here under Steve Lower and Walden Moore, the 35 organ scholars who have gone on to prestigious positions all over the country. And they've learned at this console, and they've learned how to accompany and how to conduct and how to work with choirs at this organ. It has been a tremendous teaching tool and has literally taught generations of organists and church musicians. And to be able to work with this organ, but also work with it in the most historically sensitive way we can, being guided by the organ's famous curator, Joe DeZetta, is as exciting as actually doing the work on the console itself. So we approach organs like this as artifacts, because it is an artifact. It's a testament of the people who designed and built it 90 years ago. But just like anything, us, cars, buildings, it wears out. And the console has already been restored once and has been lovingly cared for by Joe and his team. But they have made the decision that at this point the console needs something more than a restoration. So it's really important for the organist to be able to change the sounds. And you could do that by actually moving the stops yourself. But modern organs, since the end of the 19th century, have had buttons here that let you preset the various sounds you want and recall them literally at the touch of a button. And there are many ways to do this. The way it's done in this console is with a machine that, having already been restored once, has started to fail again. And it's been the decision of the Organ Guild that rather than restore that again, which may not be successful, to replace it. Now, we could fill the console with modern solenoids and circuit boards and plastic, and it would move the knobs, and that would, it would accomplish what needs to be done. But to honor the history of this organ, built by the Aeolian-Skinner company, the Organ Guild has said, let's do something different. Let's do something more in keeping with this instrument, this very historic instrument. And so instead of modern plasticky circuit boards, we're going to build replicas of the machines that move the knobs in organs built by Aeolian-Skinner even just a few years after this one. And what that will allow us to do is then interface that with new technology which will live outside the console. So you won't see anything different here. The knobs will still move. It'll still make this very satisfying cash registry ka-chunk sound. And when you open up the console, it will look like an Aeolian-Skinner from 1939 as opposed to 1935. When this console comes back to Trinity, having been rebuilt, it will work flawlessly. And it hasn't worked flawlessly for some time. And it's a testament to the musicians here that I'm sure most of the people in the pews haven't ever noticed that there are issues with the console that need to be addressed. But we want the musicians to be able to do their job as best as possible, with no distractions, with no worrying that something isn't going to work. And so to bring it back, have it work flawlessly, but also look exactly the same and function exactly the same, but just have this different mechanism in the back is the goal. We don't want it to look new, we don't want it to look better than new, and we don't want it to, look, well, it kind of already looks like the cockpit of a 747, but we want it to look like the cockpit of a 747 from 1935, not from 2005. And it's a challenge, but it's one with really clear goals set by the church and the Organ Guild here, and one that really excites us to honor the history of the instrument and prepare it for its next 90 years of training musicians and providing beautiful music for Trinity.